What is up, investors? So, I'm Jason, and we're going to be talking about FuboTv stock in this video. Now, Fubo's ticker symbol is FUBO, and those of you that are not familiar with them, they are a television streaming service that is mostly geared towards sports. Now, Fubo has over 500,000 subscribers, they're a growing service, and they are becoming more and more popular. Now, they have a couple catalysts that are working in their favor, one of them being sports betting, which is something that was seeing the stock price go up in Fubo because of this, but the stock price has come down because, well, Dish Network partnered with DraftKings to also allow sports betting. So people saw that as being something that could be taking away a lot of the catalysts that they were expecting that Fubo would benefit from and going over to Dish Network. But anyways, we'll be talking about all that in this video. So as we get into it, do me a huge favor, please, and smash, destroy, and annihilate that like button, because that helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps spread my videos to more people that might find it interesting. And we have been growing pretty fast here recently. Thank you very much, guys. And also, if you guys are interested in becoming a Patreon, I have one. The link is in the description. And we're also growing in that community now, too. Thank you to all the Patreons. All right, everybody, now let's get to it. All right, so Fubo stock. So what we can currently see is that Fubo is up a bit today, up about 10% at the time of filming this. Now, if we look at their 52-week range, over the last 52-week range, their stock has been trading between $5 and $62.29. So currently it's trading a little bit more than a third of where it was at its all-time highs. But Fubo has a market cap of $3.23 billion. So to let you guys know, I'm going to really be analyzing Fubo stock here in this video, because that's what I like to do. I like to add more value to my videos than say what a lot of the other YouTubers are doing, just trying to throw out hype there. We're going to go through all kinds of things in this video. So the price that Fubo is currently trading at was where they're at around mid-November, and that had come just after an earnings report that was released that they did on November 10th. Now, one of the big catalysts that was really moving Fubo, like I said, was that they were doing sports betting, or the talk of sports betting has been what has really been driving this stock a lot, because a lot of people want to invest into things like DraftKings and online betting and stuff like that. Is something that really has been a lot of interest in 2020, and we're still seeing that a lot here in 2021. But that's an industry where there's a lot of potential money to be made, because, well, if we look at the times now with the pandemic, not a whole lot of people are going out and spending money in other ways. So this is an area that has a lot of potential to make a lot of money. Now, before this, though, because Fubo wasn't really a stock that was publicly traded until sometime in October of 2020. Before that, this was still a company, though. This was just a name change. A lot of people think that Fubo was an IPO. No, it was not an IPO. This was actually a completely different company, not even anything even related to Fubo. And I mentioned that before in a different video that I did on Fubo a while back ago, but what this company actually was at this time was, if some of you have watched on YouTube that video of Tupac, or a hologram of Tupac at Coachella, that was that company. That was the company that is actually the stock that you're investing into. They actually bought Fubo, and then they changed their name to Fubo. So just to make some sense there. So when we really look into the financials of Fubo, we'll see a much different story of in 2019, the company only had total revenues of $4.27 million compared to 2020, where they had revenues of $217 million. So just to make a lot more sense there, there is a lot more going on with this company than what really meets the eyes, and not a whole lot of people really understand that, and that's why I'm here. Now, I personally like Fubo stock, and I think that there's a lot of potential here, regardless of what short sellers are saying. If you're someone that lives your investing strategies by what short sellers are saying, then you're not going to make any money, because the whole concept of a short seller's business is the stock going down for them to benefit from it. So keep that in mind. So as we see Fubo stock climbing back up from where it was, then the short reports come out big time, And that's what we saw a lot going into February, going into March. A lot of short interest in this stock. And that's what's really been taking things down, because some short sellers saying that Fubo stock isn't worth more than $10. And really, a stock is worth whatever you're willing to pay for it. And so where we're at right now is that it's kind of balanced out here a little bit, and we're seeing it go back up. Now, it's going back up on some different news, which I'll talk about in a second. But I think the big thing is that I need to show you guys is I need to show you how much short interest is actually in this stock, because it's a lot. Now, I don't know exactly where it's at right now. This information is last recorded on March 15th, but the current short volume is 18 million shares. And the previous short volume was 15.8 million shares. The percentage of float shorted is 20.7%. That's a lot. So Fubo might not be doing sports betting just yet, but a lot of people are taking bets on Fubo's stock price going down. But that might not be a very good idea, because FuboTv Incorporated, the leading sports first live TV streaming platform, announced today it has acquired the exclusive live streaming rights to Qatar World Cup 2022 qualifying matches of South American Football Confederation. The agreement, a partnership with the 10 South American teams' rights holders, strengthens FuboTV's leading position as a sports-first live streaming platform and its offering of matches from the global Qatar World Cup 2022 qualifiers. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. Through the new partnership, FuboTV has acquired the following rights: exclusive OTT live streaming rights only for the remaining 70 matches, including Qatar World Cup 2022 qualifiers. Match windows are currently scheduled to begin in June, with several additional match windows through 2021 and into early 2022. Re-air and highlight rights. Matches feature both English and Spanish commentary. That's a good thing. To bolster its Qatar World Cup 2022 qualifier coverage, FuboTV will produce original programming, including pre-halftime and post-match shows to air throughout the season. Specific details on programming, including how consumers can stream all South American qualifying matches with FuboTV, and on-air talent will be announced. Now, this is huge to me, because if Fubo can get their sports betting situation dialed in by this time, that's a giant moneymaker for Fubo. And not only that, the World Cup in general is going to broadcast to a much larger audience than Fubo has ever had exposure to. That is world interest. So Fubo has the possibilities to really gain subscriber growth from having these exclusive rights with the World Cup. I mean, I know they're not going to have exclusive rights to the entire World Cup broadcast, but the portion that they do have, there is a demand for that. There is going to be a lot of people that will be interested in that, and that is going to help expand this company greatly with that. Now, I think Fubo has the potential to easily 2x and possibly even 3x here in the not too distant future. And I cannot say that without throwing out financials at you guys, because a YouTuber that does not show financials when he's talking about a price prediction probably shouldn't be talking about the stock market. Now, so let's get right to it. So the first quarter of 2020, at the end of the first quarter, that was when FaceBank acquired FuboTV. And then we had the second quarter of FuboTV with FaceBank, still that same company. It wasn't until the Q4 that they ended up changing the name to FuboTV and listed publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. That was not a IPO, even though there were so many articles out there that say it was an IPO. It was not an IPO. It was an uplift from OTC into the New York Stock Exchange. That's what it was. And there was still an offering of stock to raise more money, but it was not an IPO. But everybody says it was an IPO. It was not an IPO. Okay, so we have these first two last quarters here of 2020. We can see that the total revenues of FuboTV was $61.2 million in the Q3 of 2020, and they had a net income of negative $274.12 million. So we see the revenues and we see the net income. Obviously, the net income is a lot less, more money going out than what is coming in. Q4 2020, actually a better situation. But when the reports of Q4 2020 came out, the stock price was going down. What we know is that the total revenues of Q4 2020 was $105.08 million. Net income, negative $167.82 million. So much better compared to negative $274.12 million to negative $167.82 million. Much better situation. We can see that the revenue situation is getting even better and revenue is getting up. So things are getting figured out there. When that Q4 report came out, the stock should have done much better, but it did not because the short sellers are controlling everybody's opinions. Now, balance sheet, very important information. Now we're just going to look at the last two balance sheets here, the last 2 quarters of 2020, because this is the first, Q3 2020 was the first one that came out when they, just after they became listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and Q4 was the last one that recently just came out back in March. So Q3 2020, what we know is that their total assets were $799.31 million, total liabilities $290.38 million, and as far as how many of those assets was held in cash at that time was $38.86 million. But looking at Q4 2020, the most recent report that came out, total assets $859.35 million, total liabilities $236.4 million, and cash and short-term investments $134.94 million. A lot more cash on hand in Q4 2020, but the stock did not perform better with that good news. It was a much better Q4 2020 than the Q3 2020, but that doesn't matter. Now we're going to eventually get into Q1 2021. Eventually that's going to be coming out, looks like, on May 11th. So we have that to look forward to coming out next month. And hopefully we're going to see things in a much better situation at that time. And I really expect great things to come from this stock. Now, I hope that you guys find this video interesting because I'm trying to be more useful in my information than what a lot of other people are giving out there, because I can talk about hyping up a stock all day long and I can talk about signals that make no sense by looking at a graph. That does you no good. What does good is trying to explain things about the company, trying to look at balance sheets, income statements. If you want to learn those things, if you want to learn about stocks, please subscribe to my channel. I'll make sure I talk about those so you guys have a good understanding. Now, anyways, everybody, please do me a huge favor and please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Helps me out a lot. I like to hear you guys' opinions about Fubo stock. All right. See you guys next video.